What's going on? This is Christopher from Mobile Chaos. I want to do a video reply to this guy, iCrackUriDevice video. Basically, he compared the Samsung Galaxy S3 to the iPhone 5 that just came out. And he started off his video saying, I would try to be as unbiased as possible. And throughout his entire video, he was completely biased or whatever. And his whole entire video, every single time the iPhone did anything like even a tenth of a second faster or whatever, he was like, oh, of course the iPhone won again, or as you can see, the iPhone is faster once again. And it's like retarded stuff that he was like making comments on. It's like one good example is the camera application. Basically, he launched the camera on both phones, and the Samsung device is telling him that the battery was too low to actually use the flash. And so when he launched the camera, both the cameras opened up pretty much the same exact time. I think the iPhone might have beat it by, a couple tenths of a second or whatever. But he basically waited to push the button on the Samsung device, acknowledging that the phone was faster, or acknowledging that the battery was too low to use the flash. And then he was like, "Oh, of course the iPhone is faster once again." And then you just I mean, you can't say you're unbiased if you're like, "Oh, of course this happened again," and "Oh, this always happens," and it's like that's not unbiased at all. Why don't you just let you know the test be the test, and whatever the outcome is, the outcome is. It's like you know even as far as opening up web browsers or whatever. He opened up the web browser. All he did was close out all the apps, but he didn't close. He didn't clear the browsing history or any of the cache pages or anything like that. And so basically, he opened up the browser on both devices, and the iPhone 5 opened up to no web pages at all, and the Samsung Galaxy S3 opened up to the Google page. And the Google page, of course, took an extra, I don't know, maybe a second to load. But it's like when you're opening a completely blank page with no data on it at all, and then you open up a page that even though it is Google and everybody can reach Google pretty fast, but it's still the fact that you have to reach some sort of server in the internet to pull even a Google.com page. And he was like, oh, the iPhone 5 is faster. And it's like, really, dude? I mean, you opened up a blank page with no information. It's basically an empty web browser versus pulling up a web page over here that actually is a real web page. And I mean, you can't compare those two. I'm not saying the iPhone 5 is not faster. That's not really the point I'm trying to make. I'm just trying to say that you can't say, oh, of course the iPhone 5 is faster. Well, fuck, dude. I mean, you're loading a web page here. You're not loading anything here. I mean, that's like some guy in the gym, just lifting up the bar. He's benching the bar, which weighs 45 pounds, and some other guy, benching the bar with 225 on it. Okay, and saying, oh man, see, look, this guy, he can bench the bar 25 times, and this guy over here who has 225 on the bar, he benched it 25 times, but it took him 3 minutes to do it. Well, of course, dude. I mean, they weren't fucking equal. One dude loaded nothing, and the other dude was loading 225 pounds. It's a difference. And even as far as the screen comparison, he showed a couple pictures, a picture of a lion and a picture of the Eiffel Tower. And he was like, "Oh, you can see over here, the SGS screen is more saturated. It's bigger. It has these black bars on the top and bottom. It can't load full screen and all this other kind of just biased bullshit." And it's far too easy to just be like, "Hey, let's go ahead and change the screen settings on the SGS3. You have movie, you have dynamic, standard, natural. You have 4 different settings that you can make it on. And natural and movie are real dim, washed out colors. Standard is just standard, and dynamic enhances the colors. So it's like, I mean, you don't know what setting he had it on. He could have had it on movie, which is the most washed out, really, if you ask me. And it was like, oh man, look at it, it's really saturated, and oh my god, this picture looks so much better on the iPhone 5. Well, fuck, dude. Unless you really tell people what the hell you're doing, you can't compare the two. That just makes no damn sense at all. But anyway, whatever. I just wanted to comment mainly because you said your video was unbiased, and it's like biased. You couldn't be any more biased. So I mean, that just made me want to make this video response or whatever, because it just makes no sense to say I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible and you are completely fucking biased. That makes no sense at all. But anyway, dude, I mean, I appreciate you going through the test. They don't really mean anything. Same as your benchmark test or whatever. Like, benchmarks have proven to be only valid for those benchmarks. The iPhone 5 has some dual core processor. The SGS3 has a quad core processor, but it's like when you run benchmark tests or whatever, like the iPhone 5 can come out great and a whole lot better than that one benchmark, but then you could turn around and run another benchmark test and show that the SGS3 with its quad core processor is a whole lot better than iPhone. Like I said, everybody everybody who knows anything about tech knows that benchmarks are only good for benchmarks. I mean, they're only valid for that test, and you can go to a different benchmark and run the test 2 seconds later and come out with completely different results and say, oh my God, now the SGS completely blows the iPhone 5 out of the water. It's just retarded to run benchmarks because they don't prove anything. But anyway, it doesn't matter. iPhone 5 is a great device. So I think the biggest knock on the iPhone 5 is just the fact that it's just the fact that the biggest knock on it is it's a bigger screen, and that's pretty much it. It's a faster processor, but they don't really have any details about the processor. You can fit an extra row icons. That's the big appeal of the iPhone 5. It's a longer phone. It's not even a bigger phone. It's a longer phone, I guess you can say. You know, I don't know. It's like I know it's hard to innovate, and when you came out with such a dynamic product like 6 years ago, this great device that everybody wants and stuff like that, it is hard to make that device better and better and better and better and better. And I admit that the SGS3 has a lot of gimmick type things in it. To swipe the screen, to take screenshots, and put two thumbs on the phone and wave it like this, whatever, to zoom in on pictures. And there's a lot of gimmicky things like that that you'll probably never use or whatever. But there are some very useful things, like the little thing that looks through the camera to see your eyes, and if it sees your eyes, it keeps the screen on versus making the screen go off. Like, that is a very good thing to have. That is very innovative. It is very innovative, and the iPhone doesn't have anything like that. The iPhone gave you what it had last year, longer. But hey, it's whatever. You know, dude, I appreciate your review, your bias review, and this is me critiquing your review. Alright, once again, it's Christopher from Mobile Chaos. Check me out at mobilechaos.net, facebook.com/mobilechaos. I don't post that much tech stuff anymore because I'm in Korea, but when I do see something I need to post, I post it. So anyway, take care.